Okay, let's start. Number 10, the Aryan Brotherhood. This one does not rule the streets, it rules from inside the walls. The Aryan Brotherhood is a prison gang that formed in the American prison system decades ago, and despite being one of the smallest gangs on this list, it is one of the most feared. Here is the number that shocks people. The Aryan Brotherhood makes up a tiny fraction of the total prison population in the United States, but it has been linked to a huge share of prison murders. A small group, an enormous body count, they operate through a strict code of silence and a blood in, blood out rule. To get in, you often have to commit an act of violence. To get out, there is only one exit, and it is not a peaceful one. Their reach does not stop at the prison gate. Orders are passed to members on the outside, which means a man locked in a cell can still be dangerous to someone hundreds of miles away. Number 9, the Yakuza. The Yakuza are not one gang. They are a collection of powerful crime syndicates based in Japan, and they are one of the oldest organized crime groups still operating today. What makes the Yakuza different is how public they once were. For years, they operated almost openly. They had office buildings, they had business cards, some groups even published magazines. They are known for a strict code of honor and loyalty, and for a chilling ritual. When a member fails or disobeys, he may be required to cut off part of his own finger as an apology. This practice left many older members missing pieces of their fingers. They built their power through gambling, extortion, and control of certain businesses. And for decades, they were woven so deeply into parts of society that they were almost impossible to remove. In recent years, tough new laws and an aging membership have weakened them. But at their peak, the Yakuza were one of the largest and wealthiest criminal organizations on Earth. Number 8, the Crips. The Crips began in Los Angeles in the late 1960s. What started as a small local group grew into one of the largest and most well-known street gangs in the United States. They are famous for their colour, blue, and for one of the most infamous rivalries in gang history. The Crips are not a single unified army. They are made up of many smaller groups called sets. And here's the strange part. These sets often fight each other, not just their rivals. A huge amount of Crip violence has historically been Crip against Crip. Their numbers are enormous, spread across many states. Their influence shaped music, language, and street culture for decades. But that influence came with a staggering cost in lives. Number 7, the Bloods. You cannot talk about the Crips without talking about the Bloods. The Bloods were formed in Los Angeles as well, largely as a response to the growing power of the Crips. Smaller in number, they made up for it with a fearsome reputation for violence. Their colour is red. And the rivalry between the Bloods and the Crips became one of the deadliest and most enduring gang wars in American history. It has claimed thousands of lives over the decades. Like the Crips, the Bloods spread far beyond Los Angeles, forming sets across the entire country and even inside the prison system. What began as a neighborhood rivalry turned into a conflict that would define gang violence for a generation. Number 6, La Nuestra Familia. Deep in the prison systems of California, another war has raged for decades. La Nuestra Familia is a prison gang that formed to protect its members from another powerful group. What followed was a long and bloody rivalry between the two, a war fought both inside prison walls and out on the streets. They are known for their military-style structure. They have ranks, they have rules written down, they operate less like a street crew and more like a small, disciplined army. Their discipline is exactly what makes them so dangerous. Orders flow down the chain of command and members are expected to follow them without question, no matter how violent. Number 5. Barrio Azteca. Barrio Azteca began, like several others on this list, inside a prison. But it grew into something far larger and far more dangerous. They became one of the most violent gangs operating along the border between the United States and Mexico, and they did not just commit street crime. They partnered with a major drug cartel, acting as enforcers. This is what pushes them up the list. When a street gang joins forces with a cartel, its power and its body count multiply. Barrio Azteca became deeply involved in the drug trade and in the brutal violence that came with it. They operate on both sides of the border, which makes them incredibly difficult for any single country to stop. Number 4, MS-13. MS-13, or Mara Salvatrucha, is one of the most notorious gangs in the world. It was formed in Los Angeles by immigrants who had fled war in Central America. But through deportations, the gang spread back to countries like El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, and it exploded in size. MS-13 is known for extreme brutality. Their motto, spoken with pride, is built around killing, raping, and controlling through fear. They are known for using crude weapons up close, which makes their violence especially savage, and they are not driven primarily by profit, like a cartel. Much of their violence is about territory, reputation, and loyalty. That makes them unpredictable, and in many ways, harder to reason with. Today, MS-13 has tens of thousands of members spread across multiple countries, and their name has become a symbol of gang violence itself. Number 3, the Italian Mafia. Few criminal organizations in history are as famous as the Italian Mafia. The Mafia is not one single group. It includes several powerful organizations that originated in Italy, each with its own territory and structure. Together, they built criminal empires that lasted for over a century. They perfected the model that many others would copy, a code of silence known as omerta. a family-based structure. Control through a mix of respect, bribery, and fear. At their height, they infiltrated politics, business, and law enforcement. They were not just criminals, they were a shadow power that could influence entire regions. And they were willing to defend that power with extreme violence, including the assassination of judges, police, and officials who dared to stand against them. Number 2, the Sinaloa cartel. Now we move into a different level of power entirely. The Sinaloa cartel, based in Mexico, is one of the largest and most powerful drug trafficking organizations that has ever existed. This is no longer a street gang. This is a global criminal enterprise. For years, it was led by one of the most infamous crime figures alive, a man whose name became known around the world. Under his leadership, the cartel built a smuggling network that reached across continents. Their power comes from money on an almost unimaginable scale, and they protect that money with staggering violence. They have battled rival cartels and government forces in conflicts that have cost tens of thousands of lives. The Sinaloa cartel does not just break the law. In some areas, it effectively replaces it, controlling territory with a grip that a normal gang could never dream of. Number 1, Los Zetas. If the Sinaloa cartel represents power, Los Zetas came to represent pure terror. Los Zetas started in a way that made them uniquely dangerous. Their original core was made up of former elite soldiers, men with real military training who deserted and sold their skills to the highest bidder. That training changed everything. They brought military tactics, weapons, and discipline to organized crime. They did not just fight rivals, they dominated them. Los Zetas became infamous for a level of brutality that shocked even a world already used to cartel violence. They used fear as a weapon, making sure that everyone knew exactly what would happen to anyone who crossed them. They expanded rapidly, taking control of territory through sheer terror rather than slow negotiation. For a time, they were considered the most violent and most feared criminal organization in the entire hemisphere. And that is what earns them the top spot. Not the most money, not the longest history, but the group that turned violence itself into their brand. So there you have it. 10 of the deadliest gangs in the world. From the prison cells that birthed the Aryan Brotherhood to the military terror of Los Zetas, these groups share one thing in common. They built their power on fear and they were willing to pay for it in human lives. But here is the thought to leave you with. Almost every group on this list started small, a handful of people looking for protection or power or belonging. And that may be the most unsettling part of all. The deadliest organizations on Earth did not begin as monsters. They began as people who decided that the rules simply did not apply to them.